Hello YouTube, this is that BMX guy, and this is a video on my fixed gear bike. Okay, so we'll go over what a fixed gear is. A fixed gear is a bike that doesn't have a freewheel. It's just a direct drive where the bike goes forward or backwards and there's no freewheeling. Anyway, this is my fixed gear BMX frame bike. It's just basically a BMX frame, fork, bars, everything. The wheels just my normal skinny wheels with the skinny tires. I like using the road tires, but the rear hub is a fixed gear hub. It's a flip-flop, so I can use a freewheel on this side and I use a fixed gear cog on this side. But this is a Joytech hub. This is probably the only hub that you can probably fit in most of the frames that are BMX. If you have 3/8 axle slots anyway, because that's the thing, like this frame has 3/8 axle slots, so I can actually get hubs for this frame that are fixed gear. That's the main hurdle really, is just the hubs. This hub, I took it off of a broken wheel. It was, I think, a retrospect, and this was the hub, and the rim was like, it just shattered in the middle somehow. So I took the hub and utilized it with one of my CR18s, and I've been using it since. Now I made a video of the profile racing fixed gear hub, but it's a 120, so I have to bend out the frame. And it's actually very difficult to bend this frame out. So I might be waiting for just another frame to have made with a 120 back end with no brake mounts or anything like that. But this S&M RV, this is like a, I guess this RV is from 2003 or 4. So the good thing about it is it's 3/8. It's not really heavy, but it's not really flexy either like the other frames are. But the Speedwagon definitely flexes more in the back end. Anyway, the easy way to make a fixed gear bike is just to get one of those hubs, those Joytech hubs off of a cheap wheel, since they're so common and everyone has to have a fixed gear bike, especially in the city. The other hurdle you got to get over is a seat post that's long enough. If it's 25/4 like this frame, the best you can really do is one of these Origin 8 Pro fit seat post, and that's like a 400mm seat post. And I just made sure I had a double clamp, and I stuck a shim from here to here to make it so one clamp is clamping the seat post to keep it from moving, and the other clamp is on the frame. Sort of like how the old GT seat clamps were in the mid-90s. And I think that actually helped it a lot, and it never moves. The seat post doesn't seem like it wants to bend. There's other people that have reviews like they broke the head off or something like that, but these are like people that don't really care for their bikes or just ride recklessly or something. I think the first crash might kill it though, but I haven't had that issue with crashing on the bike yet. Maybe wondering what the gear ratio should be. Well, I had a 13 on the back. That's the smallest I recommend putting on the back because it will just wear out right away. You're not necessarily wearing out the teeth forward, but when you're slowing down and stopping the bike with your own legs, which is what you do with fixed gear, you're putting force on the other way of the teeth too. So the sprockets actually wear out quicker, all because of that. And this is a Surly cog on here also, just like on the other bike. I use Surly cogs on everything, but this is a Surly fixed gear cog. It's a 14 tooth, and that's a 46. I did have a 13 tooth one here before, but they do seem to wear out a little bit, but it does make it easier to control the speed of the cranks, like downhills and stuff like that. Otherwise, I don't need brakes. You can do fine without brakes. I recommend starting out with just a normal flat and then putting something to hold your feet on. Once you get the hang of the bike in the first place, I don't recommend always being clipped in, but I do clip in once in a while on this bike. I just don't like being clipped in when I want to walk around too. The wheels are just very light and fast, and I get weird looks from people like I do with the other bikes. A lot of people think, oh, you got a little wheel, you can't go fast enough. Well, I go fast enough. I do fine. If anything, it's actually easier to slow down because there's less wheel. Like, when I slow down the pedals, it slows down. Like, it acts as the way an engine brake works on a truck, in the sense that you're just pushing the legs the other way, pretty much. You know, instead of like firing the crank forward, you're kind of not firing it, so it just stops the pedals. And I don't necessarily have to skid. I'll be able to stop within like 20 feet on this bike usually. Yeah, the front half is just a cheap Shimano. I believe it's Tiagra. It's a new Tiagra, like RS 400, something like that. It's just a 28 hole. It's still a 28 hole CR18. I'm just using normal Odyssey forks. I like the R32, and you know, these are just normal two-piece handlebars, nothing fancy. I'm not going to go with crazy light parts because I'd rather have steel. So this bike right here probably weighs 21 pounds at the most, but I know it's too heavy for some people. They gotta have less than 15 pounds underneath them, but for me, this is fine. And I also know that the bike can handle anything I throw at it. Nothing will just shatter to pieces, since it's made of, you know, a good strong metal like chromoly, or in this case ox gold front end chromoly, with like basically street tubes on the rear end. It's more than strong enough to handle anything. And the profile cranks, they do fine too. They're not super short cranks. I don't understand why people want to go to the shortest possible crank for a fixed gear bike, but these are 175s and they do fine. I don't hit the ground when I turn, but I'm also not turning like I want a sport bike either. I'm actually turning like realistically turning, not leaning so far it's ridiculous. So anyway, this is my fixed gear bike. This is the S&M RV. I've been using this for a while, maybe 3 or 4 years now. It holds up fine. I was trying to use other frames, but I always go back to this frame because it's just more sturdier. Anyway, this is that BMX guy, and thanks for watching.